I know it is the day before Thanksgiving, and I want to concentrate on a few things that I am thankful for, but there are also things, I guess I'm thankful for me being able to control my temper, because what is happening with the Navy SEALs now is enough. Yesterday, I told you on this program that I was... I don't think changing. Do you think changing my policy on
I don't think so.
war? I think just
it's an addendum, sort of. It's
I think
an
it's
update.
Yeah, I think it's just an update.
Mm-hmm.
I no longer support the military actions that we're in because the way we're doing them. I don't believe that we are fighting to win. I believe that we are creating another Vietnam, and I believe we are selling our military out. And I believe if this president doesn't get serious about our troops, treat them right, put them as as our first priority, he should bring them home, and I understand what that means. I know that if we leave in Afghanistan, it creates a vacuum, and everything that we have done has been for naught, because the Taliban will come back in, and we will have all of these cells start growing again, and they are cancer. And I get that. But I am not going to ask someone to die and fight in my name unless they have the full might and power of the United States government behind them. And now what we have is a new story that you remember, the Blackwater security that went over, and they were actually, I think they were doing a catering area, and they were just trying to protect it.
They were feeding the troops. Yeah.
So they were providing security for this. What happens? Those guys are taken out and dragged out into the street. They are brutally beaten, and then they're hung from the bridge. Do you remember this story?
And burned.
Yes.
Yeah.
Horribly. Just a horrible, horrible story. Well, the guy who is most responsible for this, we have been looking for quite some time. Back in September, the press didn't know about it. The press didn't talk about it, including us, because I didn't know about it. They caught that guy. Our Navy SEAL team went in and got him. Now, he has filed a grievance with the United States government. Not that he was abused or tortured, but that he was given a bloody lip by one of the SEALs. The United States government decided to reprimand them, and they were going to give them, what is it called, an admiral's something or other, and they were going to get a reprimand. The Navy SEALs stood together, and they said, "Excuse me? For giving him a bloody lip? Do you remember what he did? Do you remember who he is?" And so they refused the disciplinary action, and they said, you court-martial us. With an open jury, you go ahead and court-martial us. And so they're demanding to be court-martialed for giving this dirtbag a bloody lip. Now, I cannot believe that our government, instead of thanking these guys, is going after these guys. It is an outrage. It is exactly what we have been doing with the CIA. It is exactly what we do with everyone who tries to protect us. It is exactly what this president did with the police officer up in Cambridge, Massachusetts. Go after the guy who is just trying to do his job. I've had enough. And I have a nephew who has been on the front lines. He has spent the last few years in Iraq. He called me a couple of months ago. Uncle Glenn, it's time for me to re-up. What do you think? My advice? Absolutely not. I cannot give you my word as a citizen that this Congress will not use you as a pawn. I cannot give you my word as a citizen that this president won't use you for some political device. I cannot give my word that this administration and this Congress won't leave you laying out there blowing in the wind with people with guns and bombs and everything else coming after you. I can't guarantee that this government won't in the end paint you as a baby killer. Enough. Enough. George W. Bush made enough mistakes for me. As you know, if you're a longtime listener of this program, I was for going into Iraq. But he should have cut Donald Rumsfeld long before he did. There were mistakes with the smaller footprint idea. I'm sorry. Overwhelming force, shock and awe. The idea of war is you go in with everything you got and you scare the living daylights out of people. And then you leave. We're not nation building. Are you telling me that the United States military couldn't, if they would have been unleashed, couldn't go and kill all the bad guys in Afghanistan? We couldn't have gotten Osama bin Laden. Are you telling me that in 1 year, this government couldn't have gone in and flattened the Taliban, killed, not taking them and holding them for trial in New York City, killed the bad guys? You must, if you want to win a war with these people, you go in and you scare the living daylights out of them. And then you leave. And you leave everybody in the region with this idea. You mess with the United States of America, and the wrath of God is coming down on you. Don't ever mess with us. And by the way, we're not going to rebuild you either. You mess with us, you're done. And then we go home. But no. The progressives decided to tie us all together economically, so there couldn't be any real war anymore. Well, we're seeing the fruits of that now, aren't we? Long, drawn-out wars, exactly what the progressives talked about with Carol Quigley, exactly what they planned. They announced it in the 1960s, and that's the kind of war we have gotten ever since, where there is no real victor, and it just goes on and on and on. And then they tied us together so there couldn't be any real war. If we tie everybody economically together, then there won't be any war. Well, look at the fruits of tying everybody together economically. This progressive nightmare is just that. It is a nightmare that is about to become a nightmare of biblical proportions. It doesn't work.